Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to remove and reinstall a regulator rail. This is if your vehicle, the regulator or the motor still makes noise and still works, but the window's not going up and down. Usually it's just the regulator rail you need to replace. Tools you'll need are a small flat blade screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, a 10mm socket with a ratchet extension.
Okay, to remove your door panel first, use a small screwdriver, carefully pry up here and pull this corner straight off. Okay, then you want to go under here, pry straight up firmly on your switch panel. Okay, turn it over, and there's a button right here. Press that button, disconnect your switch panel. Use a small screwdriver, and there's just a little kind of button, trim button down here. Pry it up, and you can see there's a Phillips screw right there.
And just fast forward as I remove that screw and then pull that door pull cup up and out.
Okay, on this bezel, and you can see mine's broken already, so it makes it easy to come off. Basically, there's 4 tabs. You want to pry in between this back part and the tab and pull out on the bezel at the same time. Okay, and pull it off. Okay, now grab hold and pull firm on the bottom. Lift. Okay, we'll let them off.
Now you want to pull the water shield back. Start by taking the 2 screws off that hold the small speaker near the door handle. Then take the screw out in the middle of the door handle, slide it back. Then the 2 screws that hold the bracket in the middle of the door. And then slowly and carefully pull the water shield down to give yourself access to the inside of the door.
Okay, next you're going to want to remove, using a 10mm socket with a ratchet, and remove this brace.
And we'll fast forward here as we just remove those 4 bolts and that brace.
Okay, so these window regulators are cable activated or cable driven, and usually when they break you hear a popping and then a grinding noise when you try and activate your window. Basically, you can still hear the motor run, but the window doesn't move. And when you get to this point, usually what you can do is just grab hold of them with your hand and move them up and down by hand. And you want to move it to a point where you can see these 10mm bolts right through these holes. So use a 10mm socket, an extension, and a ratchet. Move these bolts.
Once you have those bolts out, you can lift the window up, tilt it forward, and lift it out all the way.
Now you want to remove this bolt and loosen this one. Okay, remove these 2 down here, and then remove these 3 here. This is your lead here for the window motor. Pull back on this tab and pull it up and out, and then pull this tab from the door.
Fast forward here again as I just remove those bolts that I pointed out to you.
Okay, once you have those all out, I'm going to feed this harness right through there. Lift up on your motor, bring it out. Nail over, bring it out, and then bring the assembly right out that way. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. There's 3 screws. It does take some strength to get these loosened.
Now fast forward here as I remove those 3 screws the rest of the way. Then make sure you remove the little clip that clips the wiring harness to the motor bracket and remove the motor. Now take your motor and mount it to the new regulator. I apologize for the up close shots of my forearm there. Put the motor down onto the regulator, flip it over, start the 3 screws in, and then tighten them up. Then finish off by reinstalling that clip into the motor bracket.
Okay, make sure you put this bolt back in to start it in up here. The motor regulator is the window. Break it through. Hang up the regulator there. Okay, hang up the motor here. Bring your harness through and reconnect.
And I'll fast forward here. Just to summarize, you put the new regulator and motor in. You start that bolt in first, and then you can hang the regulator rail up with that bolt. And then you hang the motor up with the tabs that are on the bracket. And then put all the bolts in by hand first, and then tighten them up. And when you tighten them, you want to tighten them nice and firm. Don't over tighten them though.
Okay, make sure it's in the back and in the front here. And lower it down slowly. Until it comes in contact with the regulator. So make sure it's positioned here. And then put these 2 bolts back in.
And on these bolts, you'll kind of maybe have to just grab the window, move it around a little bit as you push in on the bolts and turn them clockwise to get them started. And then again, when you tighten these up, you are going into a plastic fitting, so don't over tighten them or you'll strip the plastic. And with the key on, you can see here, other than a weak battery that causes slow up movement, everything's working well. Okay, I'm going to fast forward through here as I put the door back together and get the water shield back up in place in preparation for putting the door panel back on.
You put the panel back on, just make sure that your harness comes up through. You lift it into the right place. Push against the window. Down.
We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.